Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Phyrexia All Will Be One action, and today we're playing a deck that I call Tough Stuff because, well, we're playing around one of the cards from Crimson Vow called Ancient Lumberknot that says each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So we have a lot of creatures with high toughness or higher toughness than their power, and we're trying to take advantage of that. We also have a ton of graveyard like land synergies that we're trying to get off. It's a very wacky deck, and we're gonna see if we can do well on the rank ladder with it. But yeah, we also have Titania in here because when you're playing around with lands in the graveyard, well, whenever a land enters the graveyard, you gain 2 life. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more lands in your graveyard and you own both Titania and Argoth Sanctum of Nature, which can help us mill cards, anyways, they transform into and meld into Titania Gaea Incarnate, which is Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste, and it has power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control, and when it enters the battlefield, you return all the land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And then you can go ahead and spend mana into the second ability, which turns lands into creatures. But yeah, we have other graveyard synergies. We have like Shigeki, which we can return to our hand, put a land card from top 4, and then mill the other cards. This mills and is equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. The power and toughness roughly is equal to. We also have Consuming Blob, which is like power and toughness is equal to number of card types in your graveyard. So we have a few different card types here. You got like the instant, the enchantment, the creatures, the artifacts, the planeswalkers, and yeah, those are all the card types. Oh, also lands. Don't forget about lands. But we're also playing one other card from Phyrexia All Will Be One, which is Geth, Thane of Contracts. So this is, oops, we sent Titan of Industry to the graveyard. Well, let's reanimate it for 3 mana. It says other creatures you control get -1/-1, which is a little sad, but it doesn't matter too much when they already have pretty high toughness and when we just want to get our Titan of Industry out there. And then we can pay 3, 2 black, 1 generic, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate this only as a sorcery. But this is our grand plan, to return our Titan of Industry from our graveyard if we end up milling it. We got Reach with Gaea, we got Reach with Bird of Mire to help us block any incoming flyers. We also have Perennial Behemoth, so when we end up milling lands or we play some of these sack lands, we can go ahead and keep playing them from our graveyard and keep tutoring out lands. We also have Wrenn and Seven, create Street Folk equal to power and toughness to number of lands, and can also mill cards and put lands into our hand. So yeah, we also have Conduit of Worlds, which allows us to play permanent cards from our graveyard once each turn, and also allows us to play lands from our graveyard. So we got a whole ton of strange graveyard synergies, so let's go ahead and see how it turns out. There'll be a full deck tech at the end of videos, so stick around if you're interested in that. And if you enjoy Magic Arena videos, consider subscribing and checking out the other videos in this channel, because we like to make interesting, unique decks every single day of the week. Alright, this actually seems like a decent hand. Go for the throw, it's kind of nice. Shigeki on 2 isn't too bad either. And then we can kick the Lhurgoyf. If you kick it, it mills 3 cards for each time it's kicked. Probably should have played a green land here just to save ourselves. Or a forest here to save ourselves the damage, but I guess we win. I don't know why our opponent was so hastily. I guess they had somewhere to go, you know? Happens. Alright, let's see if we can get in with tough stuff. I originally had this deck called as like Titanium because I thought it was funny because, you know, toughness and Titanium is really tough. Or Titanium is really tough, and it has Titania in it, so but changed it to tough stuff because I felt like it's gonna fit a little bit better and slightly more. We don't need 2 Geths. I imagine, I don't know if our Geth's gonna live here. We don't have any action super early, which is a little concerning. Another swamp will be nice with Urg, Spawn of Turg. This card is funny. It's toughness is 5, and then its power is equal to the number of lands you have in your graveyard. Go ahead, play Argoth since we don't have any legendary green creatures. It's gonna come in tapped, and we don't have anything to play anyways. I really wish this said all other creatures get -1/-1 because it'd be so good at hosing. Wedding announcement. Perhaps that would make it a little too strong. We're gonna actually play Urg, Spawn of Turg here instead. Just in case our opponent wants to use some removal. But this card works really well with Ancient Lumberknot because, well, it has 5 toughness, so it becomes a 5/5 for 3. I remember making a deck around this card before, which was quite fun, but ooh, oh, flying 1/1. I don't like that. Oh yeah, we get to surveil at the beginning of our turn. Actually the flyer seems kind of nice. We'll go ahead and take that. Luckily those lands aren't legendary. Oh, I forgot Urg, Spawn of Turg is a legendary green creature, so we don't even have to worry about that. Alright, go ahead. No blocks. Everything our opponent controls is going to turn into a 2/2 thanks to wedding announcement at the end of their turn. If they attack in with 2 things, they go ahead. They're probably not going to attack it in that case. That is interesting. Nurturing presence. Let's go ahead and... yeah, we'll keep you for right now. I was thinking of playing Wrenn and Seven and taking it out, but at this point I'm a little worried, so maybe we'll just go ahead and play Ancient Lumberknot, and this will give us some bit of defense, because if they swing in with anything, we go ahead and chunk and kill them. Kill any tokens they swing in with. Because everything does damage equal to its power or toughness now. Don't really want to play Thane yet. Yeah, I don't think you want to swing into that opponent. Alright, Geth, you can go. Wrenn and Seven. Do we want to go ahead and play it? I guess we could just play out this and play out the land from our graveyard and keep ramping. Seems pretty good. And this, in the meantime, is like a 7/7 for 5. That allows us to play lands from our graveyard. Pretty cool. Works really well with Ancient Lumberknot. Got another backup Ancient Lumberknot just in case our opponent has a way of sniping it, which they might have Lantern Flare, which does damage equal to the number of creatures you control, and you gain that much life for 2 mana. I think it's an instant. You can also cleave it if you have red and white mana for an X damage spell. Our opponent makes Mondrak indestructible. It shouldn't be too much of a problem considering we have like Wrenn and Seven and everything. I should really make a green Mondrak deck. Like a Selesnya like token Mondrak deck with like Wrenn and Seven and everything. Bankbuster, I think I'm going to keep you. It is kind of fun just having Bankbuster there, being able to provide a bunch of value. Or sorry, not Bankbuster. Urg. Urg, Spawn of Turg. Is actually doing a ton of work by surveilling each turn. Land goes to the graveyard. Yep. Go ahead, get ourselves. We'll grab ourselves another green source. Go ahead, tick down Wrenn and Seven because I want to have another blocker here. It is just statically a 7/7. Doesn't need to use the Ancient Lumberknot to buff it. So if our opponent just sticks around here and lets us sit Dirtle, we're gonna keep on growing. Our board is gonna keep on getting bigger and bigger. Unfortunately, we do not have a way to return like a Conduit of Worlds from our graveyard to our hand. So if we accidentally mill that, we're gonna be in a little tough spot. But this turned out to be a really good match. I don't know what our opponent has been doing for the past many turns. I guess they played Restoration last turn. They made Mondrak indestructible the other turn. Doesn't feel like they have like. There you go, Sanctuary Warden. I was like, there's gotta be something they have. Something that's worth something. Oh god. Okay, we don't need that many Argoths. I can always play it from our graveyard. Alright, what do we got? Shigeki goes to our grave. What do we want to do? We have two things with reach. If we double spell though, we are going to flip our wing shredder here. Which is our 1/4 with reach that turns into a 3/5. If we play this, we lose our Sanctuary Award, or we lose stuff to the Sanctuary Warden potentially, I think. So I think the best play for us is go ahead, play a Riveteer's Outlook, get this to the graveyard, tutor up a land. Tell you, these sack lands doing a lot of work with his Perennial Behemoth. And then Perennial Behemoth doing a ton of work with just our Lumberknots. Alright, the 8/8 Reacher. Unfortunately, yeah, it does flip today, so our Bird of Mire is going to become smaller. We haven't milled any other creatures that are worth anything, so we haven't really had a reason to play Geth yet. We can start drawing cards with our Bank Buster, though, because we have a ton of lands. Is kind of our problem. Opponent doesn't know just how many lands we have in our hand. Titania would be pretty cool sometime soon. Banishing Slash. Okay. Well, I can't crew the Bank Buster with that, unfortunately. So that's just gonna have to go to the graveyard. No longer can we play our lands from our grave. Well, we can always unearth it. And if we unearth it, it becomes like a hasty 7/7, which is the fun part of the fun. Elspeth. Ooh, that's not what we want to see.
Yucapana's starting to feel like home, and I'll defend it like one.
Flying?
There's a hero inside you.
No, lifelink. If they gave it flying, they could have gone in on our Wrenn. Lifelink is an interesting choice. Oh, we don't really need a land. Low. I don't mind if I do. I guess we'll go ahead and play out Titan of Industry here. Do we want to play out an additional land? Yeah, let's go play out an additional land. Titan of Industry. What do we want to do with this? I think we're blowing something up. I don't know what it is, but I think we got to do that and create a 4/4. Wedding Announcement does seem like a smart thing to get rid of, but their Architect of Restoration also seems pretty smart to get rid of. Let's get rid of the Architect. Let me go ahead and draw a card. Do we want to mill? Perhaps we mill one more turn. Get more lands. Go for the throat. Alright, well, we got a Taka Numa, so we can return whatever we want, potentially. Do not really want to attack in with the Reachers. Let's go ahead and just end turn. Don't have anything particularly good here to reanimate with Geth. Need a Titan of Industry. If they want to buff their Sanctuary Warden and then like trade with our Titan, I'm fine with that, because then we can get it back with Geth potentially. Well, we actually can't get it back with Geth next turn. We need a turn off because we need it to get rid of Summoning Sickness. It's unfortunate. We need Elspeth and not the ultimate here, so we're kind of
This is your fight. Win it.
in a tough spot. I mean, they have no reason not to swing in with their Mondrak here, just to start gaining life. They didn't swing in initially because they were afraid of, like, Wanderer, even though we're not playing white, I guess. Boseiju. Ooh, wait a minute. Sounds kind of nice. Oh. Alright. We have a legendary, so we can still channel Boseiju and then do something else with its other trigger. Whatever. Do something else with Titan's other trigger. Just gain life and create a Rhino or something. So now they have no enchantments. This might be a little bit wasteful of a Titan of an Industry, but 4/4 Rhino sounds good. Do we need just to create a shield counter on something? Why not? We put it on the 10/10. Probably should just put it on like a Titan. Or actually a Lumberknot might not be bad. Or the Wing Shredder actually. The trees are mighty. This is very much a very battle cruisery game. Kind of funny. Kind of like my Urg. Urg spawn a Turg. Send it all. Send it all. I mean, they could just chump block a bunch. Maybe go in with one Lumberknot. We have 3 Reachers, which is good. 3 Reachers on defense, sounds about right. Go ahead, send it. No Elspeth ultimates are allowed here, I'm afraid. We don't really want you getting 5 3/3 flying angels. That is just rude. That is just rude. I still have 4 attackers. And Wandering Emperor? Nah, they just have better planeswalkers. Wrenn and Seven's just so weak. Elspeth just is so good. And Wandering Emperor, of course, is amazing.
Remember your training.
Probably one of the best planeswalkers in Standard. The ability to exile nonsense. Blocking Urg, spawn of Turg. Interesting. Are you just going to chump block? They are just going to chump block. Alright, well, GG. Doesn't matter the graveyard synergies. Doesn't matter anything. Elspeth Gaming. And Sanctuary Warden. Sanctuary Warden. Card looks good.
Guards, to me.
I just didn't want to play a bunch of removal.
The angels have returned.
Maybe I need to make a Elspeth proliferate deck. She only has to take up like twice, right? And then she can ultimate. Play like a blue white or a blue white red or something. Jukai Zorius or something. Snake noises. Shigeki. Does it say it only has a sorcery? No, it doesn't. Are you gonna try and remove Shigeki? Come to hand, Shigeki. While they are... Well, while they can't cast the cut down. Or, sorry, go for the third, rather. Of course, we milled like 2 of our best creatures in the entire deck. Titania and Consuming Blob. Very fun. We have Takanuma to return them, at least. Well, one of them. Another Mondrak right off turn 4. Into a crew, into a face punch. Ouch. That hurts. That hurts. What are we into? Perennial Behemoth is 2/7, kind of hard to remove. Especially because Go for the Throw can't hit it, because it's an artifact creature. Next turn, if Shigeki remains alive, we'll be able to activate it, find another land so we can start casting Titan of Industries, and maybe, just maybe, get to play the game. But they could just be playing Invoke Despair, and at that point where it's already game over. You can wait to do that to their turn. Only costs 2 mana, so we can actually play Ancient Lumberknot. Is your plan to sacrifice your bank busters? I guess you can tap one of them, create a bunch of tokens. 2 creature tokens, 2 treasures. Oh my god, okay. They get it, your freaking Mondrak isn't gonna die.
That's coming off.
Oi,
Show
oi.
them how we greet enemies.
Bye, Lumberknot. Alright. Hey, life, so we're into punishing range. We do get a land. Mill, mill, mill. More of our good cards. Yay. Unfortunate. If they have shield charge the edict, it doesn't matter whether or not we put a shield counter on it, so I'm just gonna gain the life and create another dork. Not you again, come on.
I'll light your way on these dark streets. Show 'em what you
Flying.
got.
Thane of Industry has reach.
Remember your
Titan of
training.
Industry is dead. And we are dead because we play out another reach or it doesn't really matter and they just swing in again. Or they just remove it and swing face. Always feels like we're just a little bit too far behind. We go for a very strange play. Elspeth, you torture me. Through everything, swinging with everything, we die. Why didn't they crew their other bank buster, or like crew their bank busters and swing in? Why are you taking down Elspeth? Did you
Let
just?
your blade do the talking.
I guess the idea is you can sweep for the board, so you don't. What? I'm still confused.
Keep your eyes sharp.
Jesus Christ! I'm sorry I offended you. Holy shit! It's kind of cool. We can return a Titan of Industry from our graveyard. That's cool, isn't it? Isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? Alright, we're gonna play one more game. I knew this deck was gonna be bad, but this is not a ranked queue contender. Frankly, it's probably not even a standard queue contender. is a good hand. We got Titania early on, which is nice. Gonna turn one tenacious underdog, or turn two tenacious underdog from our opponent. Going first is not nice. Bye bye, Shigeki. Bye bye, Titania. It was a dream that you would actually survive till next turn, but go for the throat. No, not go for the throat. Weird. Middle. I will pick up another Riveteer's Outlook. Gain some life. Play this. It goes to our graveyard. We gain more life. We gain a life and search our library for a land. I guess we can play a swamp. Go ahead. No attacks. Need to find Argoth. So maybe play Wrenn and Seven. Wrenn and Seven, take it up. Well, I should have played out the other thing, but beat Titania on defense so that we can actually block their 2/2 if they go in with it. This says if a creature an opponent would die, exile it instead of the beginning of their upkeep. They put all creature cards exiled with Gaea, Glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gained Decade. Do they have a play with fire? No, they don't. Okay, cool. Alright, Wrenn and Seven, I think. And we'll go ahead and create a tree folk, dude. Gain ourselves some life. And no attacks. We need Argoth. So next turn we'll activate Shigeki and take up Wrenn to see if we can find Argoth. Because then we can flip Titania and maybe get some serious damage in. Alright, we don't get Wrenn, nor do we get Shigeki. We don't get anything. In fact, we just get to say goodbye to our entire board while they 3-for-1 us with a card that always 3-for-1s because it always burns you for 3 and they draw 3 or they remove 3 of your things. Card's stupid. I hate this card. Evoke Despair. Can't wait till you are gone. And the game freezes. Is that freezing on us? Looks like our opponent's hovering stuff, so don't like the fact that it I am here. I need to close the window. Alright, we're gonna restart the game. I hear from CGB that what you're supposed to do is just instantly restart the game because So it does appear that there may be something with Invoke Despair and causing lag. Because he had the exact same problem. Okay, well. I keep playing these Riveteer Outlook from our graveyard. I imagine our opponent's not going to let Titania live. They take our Shigeki. You lose the Shigeki because it's enchantment, and Invoke Despair hits enchantment, creature, and planeswalker. So they managed to 3-for-1 us. Attacking with both. A braid. You could have done that before you attacked if you wanted to actually get any damage in, but sure. Just holding them as blockers, but they can't block because they're decayed. Blitzing the dog, gonna duplicate it with a reflection so they could draw 2 cards. Oh. I guess it probably doesn't gain the whole draw card thing. We have Shigeki back onto our playing field so we can return Shigeki to our hand and maybe find Argoth our next turn. And then maybe we can flip Titania. Don't think it'll win us a game, but it'd be interesting. All River Tears outlooks in our graveyard. What the heck? What is happening here? Alright, well, that's the last game. I don't recommend playing this deck. Frankly, I don't know why I recorded a video on it. I don't know. I thought it would be interesting. We did get like a few interesting wins. That's bugged as well. What the heck? But we did get a few interesting wins here with the deck. We have a fair amount of action on 2 here. Go for the throat. Instant speed removal. Target non-artifact creature we can destroy. Shigeki, we have 2 of them. They're legendary. Pay 2. Tap it, return it to your hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and then put the rest into your graveyard. And then we can go ahead, when we have it in our hand, channel it for XX into green, and then return X target non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. So this is going to help us return, like, Consuming Blob or something else. Non-legendary, though, so we can't return Geth, Titania, Wrenn. But we can return, like, a Titan of Industry, so that's worthwhile. 2 Urborg Lhurgoyfs, because we're going to be filling our graveyard some. It grows with the number of creatures that are in our graveyard. Its toughness is equal to that plus 1. Regular Bankbuster, we can pay 2, tap it, draw a card, and then create for 3. At the end, we get like the pilot token and treasure. Catapult Fodder. This is a 1/5 for 3, so it works relatively well with our whole Lumberknot, toughness, damage. But it also says at the beginning of combat, if you control 3 or more creatures that have toughness greater than your power, transform Catapult Fodder. It becomes a 2/6 that you can pay 3 and sacrifice another creature. An opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. So this can help us go ahead and finish off our opponent potentially in a pinch, allowing us to sack like maybe a Titan of Industry or a Perennial Behemoth that we unearthed to go ahead and do like 7 damage to our opponent's face to help finish them off, which is something I thought was kind of cool, and it's a good toughness magic card. Geth, nice thing is it has power or toughness greater than its power, and they can help us return Titan of Industries or any other creatures. So we could have used it to return like a consuming blob, but I don't think we had a consuming blob in our graveyard, unfortunately, when we had this on the battlefield. But yeah, this can help us return creatures from our graveyard, which is nice. Bird Admirer, this is just the best reacher for like a toughness matters deck I found for like cost. Because well, his reach and then daybound nightbound means that it transforms into a bigger creature, which is nice. So it has some additional upside besides being a 1/4 that can potentially do 4 damage if we get Lumberknot down. Eccentric Farmer, this is again toughness greater than his power, which is kind of nice because it helps us flip the Catapult Fodder. But also mill 3 cards and return a land from your graveyard to your hand. So this helps us ensure that we hit our land drop, so we can go ahead and curve out into our like finishers like Titan of Industry. And yeah, we have 3 of them. 2 Titanias, 3, 4 with reach. Again, toughness greater than his power. That's good. Whenever a land is put into our graveyard from anywhere, we gain 2 life. And then if we have 4 more land cards in our graveyard and we own both Titania and our Argoth land, we can go ahead and meld them into Titania Gaea Incarnate, which has Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands we control, and all of our lands from our graveyard get put on the battlefield. And yeah, so if we get to have those cards, 2 cards stick around for a full turn cycle, we can go ahead and do big things, which is nice. Spawn of Turg. This card honestly impressed me a lot more than I thought it would. The ability to surveil 1 each turn is kind of nice, especially for such a decent defender. It is kind of annoying that it does cost double black though. And then we also have a kind of nice loop thing here. We can do pay a green and a black, sacrifice land, gain 2 life, and then we can go ahead and play that land with Perennial Behemoth, who allows us to play lands from our graveyard. Card that we never got to see in action, but Conduit of Worlds, 4 mana artifact that says you may play lands from your graveyard. This can also work well with Urg in that regard. But it also says choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. So if we have nothing to do, and we have something really good in our graveyard, such as like a Titan of Industry, we can just tap this, and then play out the Titan of Industry, which is very nice. And this doesn't have any like sort of restrictions in the sense that, oh, if the Titan of Industry dies, goes to exile. This just says you can play permanent cards from your graveyard, essentially, if you play like them 1 a turn, right? Alright, Ancient Lumberknot. This is the 1/4 for 4 that says toughness does damage instead, basically. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So this helps turn Spawn of Turg into a 3 mana 5/5 that also surveils 1 at the beginning of each of your turns and can sack lands and gain life, whatnot. Perennial Behemoth, also very nice with Ancient Lumberknot because we can also unearth it, but it is a 2/7 for 5 that says you may play lands from your graveyard. So that can help us to keep ramping up, or just keep finding our land drops with these like sack lands, so that we can eventually go ahead and cast out Titan of Industry as we find it and as we get to it. So that is a very nice thing about Perennial Behemoth and these sack lands. Consuming Blob, we didn't really get to see much of this card. 5 mana, its power is equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to the number or equal to that number plus 1, so that's why we have a fair amount of different card types here. And then at the beginning of your end step, create a green ooze creature token that says create a green ooze creature token with this creature's power is equal to number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that plus 1. So it kind of duplicates itself at the end of each turn. It doesn't really duplicate because the tokens don't create more tokens, if you get what I mean. But it does at least help create a creature at the end of our turn each turn, which seems like a kind of nice thing that you could just keep on feeding to, like the Catapult Captain, if you really wanted to. Wrenn and Seven. This card is alright. Definitely feels like we were getting outclassed by Elspeth. But the ability to find lands is very nice in some situations, and then we mill stuff into our graveyard, which works sort of well with Geth, or that's the idea. But yeah. And then the -3 is really what this card's all about. It's just creating this tree folk that has reach, that has power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. Well, we're hopefully going to be playing out a bunch of lands with our recursion here, with like play lands from graveyard, playing out Riveteer's Outlook a bunch of times until we have all of our basics, so we get a really nice big tree folk. Unfortunately, the tree folk does not have trample. So, and then Titan of Industry. It is 7 mana, reach trample, 7/7. When it enters its battlefield, choose 2, so we can destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life, create a 4/4 rhino, or put a shield counter on creature you control. This card is very nice. Being able to gain us life, can save us in a pinch. Another blocker is nice. I will say overall, though, it does feel like this deck is just sort of underpowered compared to what other cards are doing, right? You don't see anyone playing Wrenn and Seven, and that's probably for a good reason. You don't see any Titans of Industries running around anymore, and that's probably for a good reason, because Atraxa kind of supersedes Titan of Industry in a way, as like more card draw and nearly the same thing in terms of being like a reach trampler, like life gain, whatnot. This deck is just not as powerful as some of what's running around, so I will say that. But it is kind of fun if you're looking for a bit of a challenge. Seeing what you can do with Ancient Lumberknot can be a lot of fun. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the deck. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps out a lot. And have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.